What up, folks? Super quick tutorial on how to use the new modifiers. You can do some pretty cool stuff now. You can do some proximity shenanigans without touching geometry nodes, so that's a good thing. So to start, you want to delete everything, and we want to drop down a grid, and I will scale this up by 10 units. And you want to apply the scale, and you want to introduce some resolution. So I will just do like 30 cuts on each axis. Now the question is, what do we want to scatter? You know, we want some elements. So let me drop down the plane. Let me duplicate the plane and let me like reshape it like this. Apply the scale, rotate it 45 degrees. Duplicate it again, rotate it on the Z again, 90 degrees. Select these two, merge. Terrible topology, but it doesn't matter in this case because I will use an emission shader, so it doesn't matter. But this is bad practice. So actually, you want to avoid this stuff. So in the first step, we will create a value that we can use to manipulate the instances, right? And you do this by going into edit mode and you select everything, and then you go to data and you hit new, right? Like the plus button, and you want to name this something. I will use it. I will name it prox, and you want to assign this. So if you are familiar with Houdini, you already know what attributes are. If you don't, I will explain it now. It's pretty easy. So the idea here is that in 3D, in CGI in general, you can use values to transform or manipulate geometry, right? So basically, if we go into weight paint mode, you can see we have a new value here, right? Because everything is red, okay? And whatever is red here it means that the value is 1, okay? So each point on our grid has the value 1. You can see it here, weight 1. If I put this to like 0.2 and assign it, you can see, oh, okay, let me put it everywhere. So you can see that the color changed because now each point has the value of 0.2, right? And Blender is visualizing this through color, right? So for now, every point here has the value of 1, okay? And we can use this value to do cool stuff, okay? So let's go back to object mode and let's introduce the first modifier, which is vertex weight proximity. And let's drop down an empty. We will use a sphere. What this modifier is doing is manipulating the data set that we just created. So we can grab our proximity group, the data set that I was talking about, and then we can pick an object, right? So I will pick the empty, okay? If I switch back to the weight paint and I switch the proximity mode to geometry, you can see that something is happening, right? So right now, everything that is close to our empty, the value of those points in that area gets lowered, right? And you can see, if I bump this up, you can see that we have a fall off, okay? So what we can do now is we can normalize the weights, which basically means that you, if you have like a range of numbers, right? So maybe like a number, like let's say you start at 0.2 and it goes up to like 1.4. You would take this range and you would put it into a range from 0 to 1. That's normal. That's what normalizing means. you have like some range and you put it into the range, like you fit it into the range of 0 to 1, because with a range from 0 to 1 it's easier to work with, right? So in the next step we can search for the instance on elements modifier. You want to pick the elements you want to scatter on your object, right? So let me go back to the object mode. So let's create a group, select your elements, or maybe if you only have one element, you can just, you know, pick it right here and it will just work. If I disable this, you can see that the X gets scattered over the grid. But if you have like a set of elements like I do, you want to create a group, and I'm gonna call it elements. And now you can choose the group, right? So now we have a problem. Our objects are too big. So what you want to do, you want to grab them, you want to go here, and you click on individual elements, individual origins, sorry. And you just scale it down. You scale it down, and then you hit Control A, scale, and now you can see that the elements have a more suitable size. And now you want to pick instance. So now basically Blender has to decide, okay, I can't just scatter every object on every point. I have to choose between them, and there you can choose the method. So you have random, sequence, and input. Input is basically just the first thing in your group. Sequence is, I think it will just go through the elements, and then it will start over. So you have like, you know, like a sequence of elements. And obviously random is just random. Cool, okay, so this is what I want. And now I want to mess with the scaling, and I want to mess with the height, like the position in Z of my elements. And I can do that if I drop down the transform on my instance on element modifier. You can see you have this button here, and you can basically choose an attribute that controls the scaling, right? And this is basically like the magic moment, right? Like now you have like this fall off that's controlling the scale of your elements, right? But the cool thing is it's procedural. So you can go back to your vertex weight proximity modifier, and you can go to fall off, and you can go to custom curve. Now you can art direct how your curve should look like, right? So this is pretty neat. And you can also introduce a displace modifier, and you want to use the prox. You want to put it before in front of your instance on elements. And you can see now that it's messing with the height of your geometry, but it's using the same fall off that we created here. So now it looks like this, but you can do whatever. You can do this, you can do this, and you can really, art direct your scene. Maybe you want a small dent here, and then it goes down. So you have a lot of control. That's the whole thing I want to show you. One thing here, you can, on the instance on elements, you can align rotation, you can turn that off, and now everything is facing up. You can always, if you put if you put a subdivision surface modifier here, you can subdivide your mesh, and basically that means that you have more instances on your geometry, so that's helpful. And also you can use this attribute that we created. So our proximity weight attribute, you can use that in shading. So that's pretty cool. Pretty sure you have to realize the instances, and then you have to drop down a geometry node. Don't worry, we're gonna do some very basic stuff only. And you want to hop over to geometry nodes, and basically if I would create a new material for this, right? So I will call it prox again, prox, and we say, let's say it's red, right? You can see nothing happens, and the reason is we have to go into the geometry node, and we have to drop down a set material node, and then we put it here, and then we put this to prox, and there you go. If you want to use the attribute for shading, you drop down an attribute. In the name, you drop down the name that you chose for your proximity data set, and you put it here. And now, if I drop down the color ramp, you can see that it's working. You can drive some cool effects with this. You can basically control the color of your instances, or you can use this to mix between two shaders. That's possible as well. If you put this to white and you put this to pure black, and you drop down the mix shader nodes like this, you can put it in here, and then you put this in here, and then you duplicate this one, put it to metallic, or like transmission to, oh, hold up, transmission to 1, roughness to whatever, and then you put this to white. Now if I go to my cycles, you can see if I drop down the emission on these two. Okay, that's, oh, okay, that's that's a rookie mistake. Obviously you want to connect your mix shader with your output. You can bump up the subdivision surface, so you have like you know, maybe like this kind of effect. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, okay, cool. I hope this helps anyone. Have fun with these new modifiers, and I'll see you guys in the next one.